Hello and welcome. I'm Raghav and today we are going to learn about GitLab CI/CD from very scratch, from very basic. And if you do not have any prior knowledge on GitLab CI/CD, do not worry. I will go from scratch and we will go up step by step. And in this session, we will learn what is GitLab CI/CD. We will create a .gitlab-ci.yml file. This is a file where we add our jobs and we create a pipeline, and I will show you how to do that, and then we will run a CI/CD pipeline in GitLab. So this is going to be very easy and very interesting. Let us start with step number 1, and before we start with our practical, let us also learn what is CI/CD and what is GitLab CI/CD. So I will go to Google and just search for continuous integration and delivery, and I will go to images, and let me go to this image, and here you can see we have this continuous integration. So CI stands for continuous integration, then continuous delivery is CD, and continuous deployment is again CD. So this is what we call as CI/CD. And here if you look at continuous integration, this is a process where we have these three jobs or these three processes chained and linked with each other. By linked I mean if this first dev process or a dev job runs and passes, it will trigger the next job, that is the test job, application test. If this passes, it will trigger then the next job, that is integration test, and we will have our continuous integration pipeline completed. So this is what is called as CI or continuous integration. And if all these jobs in this cycle are chained with each other and are automated, triggered, we call it as a continuous integration system. Now, if we also add a acceptance test job or a acceptance test process, which is also automated and linked, then this becomes a continuous delivery, because after this step, our application or our product will be ready for delivery. So this becomes continuous delivery. And if we also add a deployment job or a deployment process that will deploy to the production, and all these jobs are automated and chained and can be automatically triggered, then this becomes a continuous deployment pipeline. So this is what we call as continuous integration and continuous delivery and continuous deployment. Now in GitLab as well, we have this continuous integration, delivery and deployment. And here this GitLab CI is an open source CI service or a continuous integration service included with GitLab, and by default this is integrated with every project in your GitLab since version 8.0. So if you are using version 8.0 or above of GitLab, then in all your projects by default you will have GitLab CI integrated and enabled by default. And to go to the settings and to configure GitLab CI, you should be a maintainer or a owner or a admin on your project. So if I go to my GitLab account, if I just go to my GitLab, I will sign in. So I'm already signed in, and you can see here are my projects. And if you see the projects here, I'm a maintainer on one project and owner on the other project. So I can configure GitLab CI/CD. So this is what GitLab CI/CD is. Now to actually create a GitLab CI/CD pipeline, we will have to add a file called .gitlab-ci.yml. So YAML files, or YAML is a format of writing text files, and like we have JSON and XML, YAML is also a format, and I will show you in a moment how to create it. And we have to create this file in the root folder of your project or your repository. So whatever is the root folder, and we have already created a project earlier in the earlier session, so we will be creating this file in the main folder or the root folder of our project. Now before we start creating this file, this file, so this is used to configure our pipelines, and in every project we will be adding this file where we can add the details, and it will define the structure and order of the pipeline. And once I create it, you will know exactly what I mean. Do not worry if there are some things that you are not getting. Once we create the file and run it, you will know exactly what it means. So let me create a file. Now if you are on Mac, you can use any text editors, like we have textEdit on Mac, and then we have textWrangler. Anything will work. If you are on Windows, you can again use Notepad or Notepad plus plus, or in fact you can use any editor, but we have to make sure the syntax is correct, and I will show you how you can check the syntax. So let us say this is my Windows system. Here I can open a Notepad plus plus. I'll open this, and let me open a new file so that I can show you from scratch. And on my Mac, I will open a text Wrangler file so that I can create it here. So to create a file, I will just give some name of the job. I will say this is demo job 1. Let me increase the font so that you can see it properly. So I hope you can see it now. So I will say demo job 1. Any name you can give here and give a colon. Go to the next line and I will give 5 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can give any number of spaces, but you have to be consistent with that. So now I will say tags, and here give a colon. Again go to next line, give 2 spaces here, and I will give a hyphen and space, and I can give any tag here. Now tags are important because in your GitLab you will be having the GitLab runners, and they have some tags, and the tags should match. Only then the GitLab runner will run this particular file. And we have already learned about GitLab runner in the earlier session. So if I go to my project on GitLab, and here if I go to settings and go to CICD, and we have runners here, I will click on expand, and you can see we had created this runner earlier, and we had given these tags here, CI and SSH. So I should be having one of these tags so that the runner can pick up this file and run it. So let me say the tags, I will say CI here, and I will go again to next line. Now again I will give here script, and this is in line with tags. Again go to next line, 2 spaces hyphen, and here I can write any command or script I want to run. So let us say I will say hello echo hello world. So this should run this command in this job. So this is a very simple file where I am running this script echo hello world. So this should print hello world on the console. And now you can also do the same thing on your Windows on the Notepad. So you can create it like this. And now we have to make sure the syntax is correct, and for that you can copy the contents, and you can just go to Google and search for any YAML file validator utility or application. So I will search for YAML file validator, and you can see we have YAML lint, YAML validator online, all these. I will go to YAML lint and paste my contents of the YAML file, and here we have a go button. I'll click here, go, and check, and yes, everything is fine. It says it is a valid YAML, so that is fine. I will now just save this. So I will save this file, and we have to make sure the name here should be .gitlab-ci.yml. As of now I am saving on desktop, but I will move it to my project folder. So I will say save, and let me say here use dot, and here it is. Let me just see the file. I will go to my desktop, and I will press command shift and dot on my keyboard because this will be a hidden file. I will copy this, and move it to my projects folder. So in the earlier session we had created a project, and in the project folder we created a folder called GitLab. In GitLab we had my first project. I'm going to move it here. So let me show here. I have moved this file here, right? The same thing you can do on Windows. So the steps will remain same. You can just copy it in your projects folder wherever it is. So it is here, my first project. You can just copy this file here. So I can actually copy this file here. All right. Now this was step number 1, and I will also copy the contents of this file so you can see it. I'll also copy this in the notes. This is the file I have created. This was step number 1. And now step number 2 is we have to commit and push file to GitLab repository. So now because we have added this in our project, we just need to commit and push in our GitLab repository. We have already seen the commands for committing and pushing in the earlier session. So let me open my terminal here. If you are on Windows, you can open git bash or the command line. And first I will change the location to my project. So I will say cd and go to my project folder. And here if I say git status, you can see I'm getting this file is not yet added. So I will say git add dot, and all these commands we have learned, and then I will say git commit. So if I again say git status, I should see it in green. So you can see now it is added. And then now I will say git commit -m and give a commit message. I will say edit dot gitlab-ci.yml file, and now I will push. I'll say git push -u origin master. Okay, so I can give the URL instead of origin. So here I will add the URL of my repository. I will go to GitLab and go to my project, and here I will click on clone and copy this HTTPS link and provide it here and hit enter. I think I have not already added my credentials here, and I believe I have done it on Windows. So let me try it from Windows system. I will go to my command line and go to the location of my project here, and now I will say git status, and yes, I am having the file here. I will say git add, I will say git status again. I will now say git commit -m edit dot gitlab-ci.yml, and I will say git push -u origin master, or I will say git push -u and give the link here. I'll again copy the link and this should push the changes. And yes, this should push the changes. If I go and check my project now, I should have my GitLab CIML file here. So you can see now it is here. So I've pushed the changes. Now the next thing is step number 3 will be we have to create GitLab runner for the project. Now this step we have already seen as a separate session. So I hope you have seen the earlier session where we have done this GitLab runner. We have learned how to install, restart, register and start GitLab runner, and you should have watched this session. I will also keep a link of that video in this session. So if I go to my project, you can go to your project, go to settings, and here you should go to CICD, and in the runners, if you expand, you can see we had this runner created earlier. So this runner is already created. So this step we have already done. Step number 3. Step number 4 will be also make sure that the runner that you are using has a tag that you have given in your YAML file. So we have a tag here, CI, that we have given in our YAML file. Now step 4 will be start the runner. Now I can start the runner, so I can also start from my Mac or Windows, anywhere. We have learned this how to start. So I will just say here brew services start GitLab runner, and just to show you, although we have covered this, if I go to GitLab runner, so here is the documentation for GitLab runner, and we have seen this earlier, all this how to install and register and everything. All this we had seen earlier. So if you are on Windows, you can see here we have for Mac, for Windows, all these things we have. If you see the registering part, we have done this as well earlier in the earlier session. This is for Mac OS, and for Windows this is the thing, and you can use this. So if you are on Windows, you can just run this gitlab runner exe start. So here this is already started, so that is fine. So this is already started. I can stop and start, but that is fine, it is started. So once you start the runner, then step number 5 will be make any change in the project and then commit and push. So basically what we have done is we have added this CI job, or we have added this GitLab CI.yml file in our project that will now check for any commits and push in the project. Whenever you do any commits, it will if you have a runner running, if you have a GitLab runner running having the same tags like what you have given in the file, for example we have given CI here, then it will start the job whatever you have given in the CI file, in the GitLab CI file. So now let me make some change here. I'll go here to my project, and let me say I will just add some file here, or I will not add a folder, I'll just add a file. I will say new file. I'll say this is test1.txt. This is a test file, and I will save and close it. If I go to my command line, if I say git status, this is added. So I will say git add, I can say test1.txt, or I can say dot for adding everything, and I will say git commit -m and give the commit message edit test1.txt, and now I have to push. So I will say git push -u and the URL and master. And once I do this, when I go to my project here, and I will go to CICD, and here Once I go here, you will see this jobs getting triggered in the job section. So let me push it and show you. I will push this, and if I go here and refresh, or I go to the jobs, you can see it is now here, it is saying pending. So this will run now. If I go inside, you can see this is a demo job one that we created in our GitLab CI file. If I click here, you can see this is running and this is now passed, and you can see here it is running hello world. So it says echo hello world and it is printing hello world, and you can see the logs here. You can scroll from here. This was a very small job, so we do not have a lot of logs. You can erase the job log, you can see the complete raw log, all this you can do. So now on every commit and push in our project, it will check if we have a GitLab runner running and we have this CI file, the GitLab CI file. It will run the file, and whatever jobs we have added, whatever scripts we have added, it will run accordingly. So from now onwards, whenever you make any changes, it will trigger these jobs whatever you have configured in your file. So this is in a very basic way how you can get started with GitLab CI/CD. Of course, there are a lot of complex YAML files that you can create as per your needs. If you go to the GitLab documentation, you will see examples and samples of a lot of YAML file, and you can check them and see how you can use them. So this was a beginning of GitLab CI/CD at a very basic level. So I hope all this was very useful for you. Please do a hands-on and try some more jobs, running some more jobs in GitLab CI/CD. Do share your knowledge with others, and if you have any questions or any doubts, do send your questions to me and I will try to reply to you as soon as I can. I hope all this was very useful. Thank you so much for watching.